low voltage, electrical constructions, building services, industrial automation, electrical machines, power electronics, electric transportation, artificial lighting, renewable energy sector planning and management, and electrical product developments. I'm not going to go into the details because I'm sure that he will tell me that you have only 2 minutes more. And the third point that I'm going to talk is that it is a challenge that we consider producing the engineers to meet these challenges. And although we produce highly marketable graduates from Morato University, unemployment after 3 months is less than 1% and of high demand, but we still feel that we can tremendously enhance their actual applications in harnessing these kind of opportunities. The early approach was input-based, where you have a curriculum, syllabi, teaching and assessment methodologies, and whoever who comes out, you say that engineering graduate. But now it is totally other way around. You first defined what kind of a graduate you want with the graduate's attributes and capabilities, and then work back and design your curriculum, syllabus, teaching, assessment, methodologies, and all that. Completely different. And to start with, we need to first identify all the attributes of a graduate and to make sure that he is a product that we want. And these are typical attributes used by accreditation bodies of engineering qualifications. And we want people, engineers, not just having subject knowledge and comprehension, but the analysis, application, evaluation, review, and synthesis, the holistic aspect of that. And with that, of course, in order for us to use these engineering sciences for economic development, as Dilika also mentioned, that we need to be an innovative nation. We need to go for innovation. And that is an instrument for high value addition. And it is an instrument for identification of gaps and exploit opportunities. It has a potential for both product innovations, process innovations, incremental innovations, and breakthrough innovations as well. And it is the only way that we can use for sustainable economic or sustained competitive advantage for our nation, because we want to compete our products and services with many, many other countries to generate wealth for Sri Lanka. And therefore, the technology is imperative, as Minister also mentioned. And Professor Nawaz Sharif, he's a Bangladesh professor, but he's in US, and he said, technology is a game for the rich, a dream for the poor, and key for the wise. Because technology is actually very expensive. If you really want to exploit the biotechnology, nanotechnology, and all these new technologies coming up, it's a game for the rich, dream for the poor, and key for the wise. The fifth aspect that I want to talk is engineers as entrepreneurs. And we consider when engineers become entrepreneurs, they have a high potential to have value-added products and become highly successful. High value-added, high-tech products and services, innovative products and services, ability to compete with competitors with these kind of innovations, and the great potential to export. And in fact, we promote them as job creators than job seekers. And because of that, we actually encourage the entrepreneurship very much at Morato University. And we have several strategies to enhance the entrepreneurial culture at the university. And we allow students to form their own student companies while they are studying in the university. And we are introducing a minor specialization in entrepreneurship in addition to major specializations. We also liaise with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, US, to have information technology incubation, entrepreneurship, and try to provide incubation facilities within the university so that they can experiment with their products and come out with products to be commercialized. And sixth aspect I want to talk about is this very important aspect of need for national innovation system. I'm sure that Mr. Lalit Veeratunga will also consider this one as well. Because in a country to develop fast, rapidly, we want to align the objectives and the goals of everybody, all the partners.
Professor, and in this, have 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah, okay. Right. So you have the industrial system where you have large companies, mature SMEs and all that. You have the educational systems, then you have the research institutions, and you need to have a very strong collaboration between all these players. And then you have the political framework, which is actually conducive and supporting with the infrastructure. And in a country, normally when you don't have a strong a partnership. It is modeled with this triple helix model where you have the state, a big one, industries and academia are working separately. And the phase 2 is actually, okay, 3 entities are there but not very strong connections. But in a developed national innovation system, state, industry, academia, everybody is working together like this. And if you are aligned like this, then we actually move ahead with a rapid economic development because we are aligned in one direction. The 7th aspect that I want to talk about are the challenges and the way forward. And one of the challenges we have is the transformation of engineering education from the input-based to outcome-based education so that we can produce graduates with necessary attributes. Lack of funding for R&D, obviously we need to spend commensurate with the other requirement as well, but at the moment it is 0.13% of the GDP. At least we need to increase to 1%, and still it is the lowest in the region as well. And specifically the SME sector, jointly explore funding opportunities, and with this kind of R&D expenditure, it is difficult to attract good brains to come out with research, development, innovation, and entrepreneurship that we talked about. There is a large technological gap and lack of absorptive capacity sometimes, so we need to really address these issues. We'll not go into the details. Absence of at least a few large companies in many sectors. And as a government, I think, in addition to creating SMEs and all that, we need to create at least 1 or 2 very large companies who actually can break the barriers of the boundaries of Sri Lanka and compete internationally. We don't have those kind of companies in all the sectors, maybe 1 or 2 in some sectors, but I think the government, it is a strategy adopted in Korea, where the Korean government initially supported everybody. Poor players, let them die. The good ones, they actually supported more, so that companies like Samsung came front. Still bit of a lack of direction by the government. Obviously, government is trying hard to do lots of things, but still sometimes a policy shortcoming, some strategic directions in trust industries, lack of support sometimes because of the other demanding things as well, insufficient funding, we always talked about, lack of outreach, and lack of incentives for public institutions, particularly the institutions do research and development. And this is a very important one that I emphasize again as well, a lack of well-developed national innovation systems. The stakeholders are becoming more aware of the need. Government are in the progress of identifying the strategies to have a world-class system in the National Technology and Innovation Strategy that was submitted by the former Ministry of Technology and Research, Professor Vitarna, and the universities are addressing this issue as well. And then we need to have a awareness of using the intellectual property rights. And Sri Lanka is actually very poor in obtaining intellectual property rights so that we can harness our knowledge locally and internationally as well. Plenty of work to be done in that area. And emphasis on the technology transfer. Very important because lots of mega projects that we do not have that emphasis on transferring technology, because if you don't have that kind of a thing, what happens is that every time when we need to invest on another power project, we have to get the expertise by spending tremendous amount of money. India is very clever in that. Bangladesh is very worse. Now Sri Lanka, when we negotiate big projects, we need to make sure that technology transfer is an agenda item. We should not spend on that project, on that consultancy again, because we have very good brains in Sri Lanka. So emphasize a lot on that aspect in our teaching and in our practice as well. The way forward, the last slide, embracing outcome-based education, visionary science and technology policy already in place but need to practice, well-developed science, technology and innovation strategy in place, but we need to identify detailed projects, more R&D funding, opportunities and mechanisms to be identified and implemented, more effective coordination of need seed, that is, the needs of the industry and the seeds of the research and development institutions and the universities need to be matched and implemented, more effective incentives for R&D, institution and researchers, mechanism for more effective innovation and entrepreneurship, effective IPR, intellectual property right policies, compelling technology transfer and technology development legal mechanisms, significant change of the attitude of people. I think it is also very important because a country like Malaysia, their government spend lots of money to change the attitude of people first to start with. And that, I think, is a bit of a responsibility of the government as well. And this everything will lead to a world-class national innovation system so that we can make use of our engineering sciences very effectively for the rapid economic development of Sri Lanka. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Jawardena.